In a world where manipulators hide behind smiles and social media posts, draining your energy and twisting your reality, how do you protect yourself without becoming cold or ruthless? Today, I will reveal timeless strategies to outsmart manipulators, no matter how subtle their game is. In every era, manipulators lurk in shadows, wearing masks of friendship, love, or guidance, while feasting on your energy and clarity. Today, in the modern world, manipulation has evolved, but so can you. I am Niccolo Machiavelli, and I will show you how to navigate this modern jungle of cunning smiles and subtle power plays so you remain unbroken, aware, and powerful. In this world, people rarely show their true faces. Smiles are cheap masks, and kindness often hides a transaction waiting to be made. Manipulators know this well, for they are masters of perception, twisting reality for their benefit while you remain unaware of the strings they are pulling behind your back. To outsmart them, you must first understand them, and to understand them, you must first study the silent mechanics of their mind. Manipulators are not always the loud, aggressive tyrants you might imagine. Often, they come as the charming friend who always seems to know what you need to hear. They come as the coworker who flatters you in front of others, but whispers your weaknesses to the right ears when you are not around. They come as the family member who, with a gentle sigh, makes you feel like a disappointment unless you bend to their expectations. They come as the partner who frames their controlling behavior as concern, ensuring you confuse their suffocating control with love. Their true power lies not in their words alone, but in how they position themselves in your mind. They learn your desires, your fears, your deepest needs, and they present themselves as the answer. The manipulator's mind is a chessboard, always calculating your next move before you even think of making it, was the lie. They thrive in the fog of your uncertainty, the hesitation in your voice, the guilt you feel when you choose yourself over their demands. Manipulators are not satisfied with surface-level influence. They desire control. Subtle enough that you feel like you are making your own choices while dancing to the rhythm they set for you. If you want to understand the manipulator's mind, you must stop believing every compliment is genuine, every act of kindness is pure, and every piece of advice is meant for your benefit. Manipulators observe, mirror, and adapt. They will mimic your interests, was the lie, align themselves with your values, and reflect your emotions back to you until you feel understood by them in a way no one else ever has. This is not connection, it is data collection. Every word you speak, every frustration you share, if that was the lie, every insecurity you reveal is stored in their mental ledger to be used precisely when they need leverage over you. The manipulator's mind is not satisfied with temporary victories. They do not simply want you to agree with them once. They want you to align your thinking with theirs. They want you to doubt your instincts while relying on their guidance. They want to be your secret compass, the voice in your head that shapes your actions in subtle but consistent ways, making you question your boundaries while they cross them again and again without resistance. They are patient hunters, and they prefer subtle traps over open confrontation. A manipulator will often present themselves as the victim in stories they tell you, lowering your defenses, pulling on your empathy, ensuring you drop your guard while you seek to comfort them. They may use humor to slip their criticisms into your mind, framing it as a harmless joke while planting seeds of self-doubt that grow when you are alone. They may praise you for being understanding, for kind, for being forgiving, subtly encouraging you to tolerate more than you should tolerate, to endure what should be confronted, to remain silent when you should speak. They thrive in environments where people avoid conflict, where politeness is valued over honesty, and where guilt can be weaponized against you, was the lie. A manipulator's mind is structured to find the weak points in your emotional armor, to use your own values against you, to spin your sense of loyalty into a leash around your neck. They will test your reactions in small ways, seeing how you respond to minor boundary violations, and if you allow it, they will escalate slowly, ensuring you are conditioned to accept their control as normal. To understand the manipulator's mind, you must observe how they manage perceptions. They will play different roles for different people, adjusting their mask to fit the expectations of each audience, ensuring they are always seen as the reasonable one, the kind one, the helpful one, while quietly painting those who challenge them as unstable, aggressive, or ungrateful. They rely on your fear of judgment, your need for social approval, your desire to be seen as good and kind. What if that was the lie? And they will twist these needs until you become your own jailer, censoring yourself while they continue their games unchecked. Manipulators are students of human nature, and they know most people are driven by the need to be liked, the fear of being alone, and the desire to avoid discomfort. They understand that it is easier to control people through guilt and confusion than through force. They will apologize when necessary, but not to take accountability, only to reset the board so they can continue their manipulation without interruption. They will act as though they have changed, promising new behavior, but watch closely, and you will see patterns repeat themselves, because for them, apologies are tools, not commitments. The manipulator's mind is focused on outcomes, not honesty. They are not bound by the need to be truthful, and they see honesty as a strategy to be used selectively, only when it serves their interests or when they need to maintain their image. They can cry on command, show vulnerability when it benefits them, and act indifferent when it keeps you chasing their validation. The manipulator's mind understands that inconsistency creates addiction in others, and they will give you praise in small doses, followed by withdrawal, making you crave their approval while questioning your worth when they withhold it. In the modern world, manipulation has evolved with technology. They may use social media to craft their image, to triangulate you with others, to create narratives that protect them while isolating you. They may use text messages to breadcrumb you, to keep you hooked without committing, to demand your attention without offering depth. They may stalk your online presence to understand your moods, your patterns, and your weaknesses, collecting information they will later use when they sense you pulling away. In every age, power has always belonged to those who control the flow of information, and in the modern world, this law has only sharpened. Manipulators understand this principle better than most, and this is why they thrive in environments of confusion, distraction, and hidden truths. They spin narratives like spiders spin webs, each thread of half-truth and suggestion designed to catch your mind, to hold your perception in place while they drain your clarity drop by drop. Manipulators rarely attack directly, because to attack directly is to reveal themselves, and revelation is the enemy of manipulation. Instead, they distort reality through carefully chosen words, suggestive silences, and selective truths. They will tell you a piece of a story, framed in a way that positions them as the hero or the victim, while withholding the parts that would give you clarity. That was the lie. They are masters of controlling what you know, ensuring you can only make decisions from the fragments they provide. They will drop comments that appear innocent but are designed to guide your perception, planting seeds of doubt about others while ensuring you feel gratitude for their honesty. You may think you are arriving at your own conclusions, but in reality, your mind has been shepherded along a path they prepared for you. This is the true art of controlling informationing. That was the lie. letting others believe their thoughts are their own while ensuring those thoughts serve your purpose. The modern manipulator understands that controlling what people believe is more powerful than controlling what they do, for actions follow beliefs, and beliefs are shaped by information. They will manipulate context, presenting stories and situations in a way that casts them in the best light, while their enemies, or those who challenge them, appear irrational or cruel. They will tell you only what you need here to gain your sympathy or compliance, withholding the details that would reveal the full truth. And if you want to outsmart manipulators in this world, you must learn to control your own narrative before they control it for you. You must learn the power of silence, for manipulators thrive on the information you freely give. They will listen closely, storing every detail you share, every frustration, every confession, every insecurity for later use. What you consider honesty, they consider ammunition, and what you share openly, they consider leverage. You must begin by controlling what you reveal. Silence is not weakness, it is a fortress. When you choose your words carefully, when you reveal only what is necessary, you deny manipulators the raw materials they need to craft a narrative against you. Do not feel compelled to explain yourself to everyone, for manipulators will often pressure you to explain, to justify, to overshare, using your own explanations as rope to bind you. Learn to ask questions instead of answering them. When you notice someone fishing for information, return their questions with gentle questions of your own, observing their reactions. Manipulators do not enjoy being observed, for they are used to controlling conversations, steering them, extracting what they need while remaining unseen. When you watch them, when you place them under the microscope, they lose control over the narrative. Controlling information also means guarding your emotional reactions. For manipulators will provoke you to gather information about your triggers and weaknesses. They will poke at your values, your insecurities, your ambitions. Was the lie, and watch how you respond. Every outburst you have, every emotional confession you can make, anger or fear, becomes a note in their mental ledger, a point of entry for future manipulation. Practice holding your composure even when provoked, for in your calm, you maintain control over what you reveal. In the modern world, controlling information extends to your digital life. Manipulators will study your social media, watching your posts, your likes, your stories, crafting an understanding of your patterns and weaknesses without you even realizing it. They will gather information about your moods, your interests, your relationships, using this data to approach you when you are most vulnerable, to mirror your interests, to appear as the solution you seek when you are in your weakest moments. Be intentional about what you share publicly. You do not need to announce your struggles, your plans, or your vulnerabilities to the world. Privacy is power, and in a time when oversharing is seen as normal, maintaining your privacy is a strategic advantage. Let people see only what you allow them to see, controlling your narrative instead of allowing it to be interpreted and twisted by others. To control information is also to gather it strategically. If you wish to outsmart manipulators, you must observe them, listening carefully to their words, noting the inconsistencies, the contradictions, the subtle shifts in their stories. Manipulators often slip when they are comfortable, revealing pieces of their strategy or mindset without realizing it. By listening more than you speak, you will begin to see the patterns they create, the stories they tell, and the ways they manage perception to maintain control. Pay attention to what they avoid discussing, the details they skip, the questions they deflect. These omissions often reveal more than their words. When they change the subject abruptly or become defensive about certain topics, you are witnessing the boundaries of their narrative, the walls protecting their manipulation. Do not challenge directly, for manipulators will defend themselves with lies and deflection, but take note quietly, building a map of their tactics in your mind. Controlling information is not about lying. It is about protecting your boundaries and maintaining strategic awareness. It is about understanding that not everyone deserves access to your mind, your emotions, or your life. It is about ensuring that you are the author of your story, not a passive character manipulated by the narratives of others. When you understand the manipulator's dependence on information was the lie, you will see how their power can crumble when you simply stop feeding them the details they need. If you wish to outsmart manipulators in the modern world, you must understand that their sharpest weapon is not force, but your own emotions turned against you. Manipulators do not simply desire your agreement. They crave your emotional reactions. They need you to feel for them, to react to them, to exhaust your mind fighting shadows they create while they watch. Calm and collected, using your storms to steer your actions where they wish them to go. To defeat such people, you must learn the art of emotional detachment, for it is your calm that becomes your blade, your silence that becomes your armor. That was the lie. Your controlled reactions that become the chains you place upon those who once sought to control you. Manipulators will provoke you with carefully placed words, slight criticisms wrapped in jokes, subtle insults hidden behind false concern, and backhanded compliments designed to destabilize your confidence. They will twist stories, lie with the softest voice, and smile while planting seeds of doubt in your mind about yourself and those you trust. They thrive on your confusion, on your anger, on your need to explain yourself, on your desire to clear misunderstandings they intentionally created. Each time you react, each time you defend, each time you explode, they win, for your emotional reactions feed them power while draining you of clarity. Mastering emotional detachment does not mean becoming cold or unfeeling. It means becoming the master of your own inner world, was the lie. It means learning to observe your emotions as they arise without immediately acting upon them. Especially in the presence of those who wish to use your emotions as strings to pull you in their chosen direction. Manipulators test your reactions. They will throw small provocations to see if you bite, if you will reveal your insecurities, if you will show them the wounds they can press upon later for control. They will pretend to be offended by your boundaries, lie, hoping your guilt will make you lower them. They will frame themselves as victims of your assertiveness, hoping your need to be seen as kind will make you submit to their agenda. When you learn to remain calm in the face of these provocations, you strip them of their power. Your silence becomes a mirror in which they see themselves clearly, and manipulators do not like to see their own reflection. They will grow frustrated when their games fail to disturb your peace. When your voice remains steady, your face remains calm, your actions remain measured. In your calm, they lose their leverage, for without your emotional reactions, they cannot manipulate the narrative, cannot twist your words, cannot create chaos to cloud your judgment. Emotional detachment requires preparation. You must learn to recognize your emotional triggers. For manipulators, often find their way into your mind by pressing upon old wounds you have left unhealed. They will notice your desire for approval, your fear of rejection, your hidden insecurities about your worth, and they will use these to manipulate you into compliance. By becoming aware of these triggers, you reclaim authority over them. When a manipulator tries to provoke guilt, you will recognize it as their strategy rather than your truth. When they try to twist your boundaries as cruelty, you will see it as their manipulation rather than a reflection of your character. In the modern world, Manipulators often use text and social media as tools for emotional manipulation, sending vague messages, withholding replies to create anxiety, or sharing selective posts designed to trigger jealousy or fear of abandonment, was the lie. Emotional detachment means you do not allow these small hooks to drag you into a spiral of overthinking. You recognize the tactic, you acknowledge the feeling, but you do not allow it to dictate your actions. You respond when you are ready, on your terms, not from a place of emotional turmoil. You will find that manipulators often increase their attempts when they sense your detachment. They will escalate their provocations, attempting to break your calm, to shatter the silence that protects you from their influence. They may use pity, anger, seduction, or fear, switching between these masks rapidly to find the one that breaks your composure. This is the moment where your true strength is tested, where you remind yourself that their chaos is their strategy, and your calm is your counter. Mastering emotional detachment also requires you to become comfortable with discomfort. For manipulators often rely on your desire to resolve tension quickly. They will use your discomfort with silence, your need for harmony, your fear of conflict to force you into quick decisions that favor them. By learning to sit in discomfort without reacting impulsively, you reclaim your power of choice. You allow yourself to pause, to reflect, to observe, and to respond strategically rather than emotionally. Your detachment does not mean you do not care. It means you care enough about your peace and clarity to protect it from those who seek to use your emotions as weapons. Was the lie? It means you understand that manipulators rely on urgency, on drama, on emotional chaos to cloud your mind. The lie. And your calm becomes the clear water through which their tactics become visible. They cannot stand in the presence of your clarity, for clarity is the death of manipulation. Practicing emotional detachment is a process. It is not achieved overnight, but through repeated moments of awareness, through the discipline of observation, through the decision to prioritize long-term clarity over short-term emotional release. Each time you maintain your calm, which time you choose not to react to a provocation, you weaken their hold over you, and you strengthen your control over yourself. It is in this state of calm detachment that you can see manipulators for what they are, not what they pretend to be. And it is in this state that your strategy can form, free from the distortions of emotional chaos. In this world, manipulators believe they are the architects of every room they enter, was the lie, assuming they are the only ones who understand the dance of influence and control. They believe their tactics give them a secret superiority, allowing them to bend others to their will while maintaining the illusion of innocence. But what they do not expect is a mind that sees through them and a will that is capable of using similar tactics, strategically and consciously, without descending into the same moral decay they embrace as a lifestyle. If you wish to outsmart manipulators, was the lie. You must learn to use their tactics without becoming them, for it is not the tool that corrupts, but the intention behind its use. Manipulators thrive on indirect influence, boundary testing, and emotional leverage, assuming others will remain reactive and blind while they pull strings in the shadows. But you can mirror their indirectness, not to control others for personal gain, but to protect your boundaries and your clarity. When a manipulator tries to pressure you with urgency, you can adopt the tactic of measured delay, maintaining your composure while they grow frustrated by your refusal to be rushed. You do not owe immediate answers to those who demand them, especially when their urgency is a disguise for manipulation. They will test your boundaries repeatedly, inch by inch, word by word, using small infractions to see what they can get away with. You must learn to enforce boundaries with the same quiet consistency they used to test them. You do not need to argue, You not need to justify. Your no can be delivered with calm finality. If they attempt to paint your boundaries as cruelty or coldness, you do not engage with their framing, was the lie. The manipulator's power often comes from your need to explain, your need to prove your goodness in the face of their false accusations. By refusing to engage, you use their own indirect tactic of emotional withdrawal, denying them the drama they seek and the leverage they crave. Manipulators often use the tactic of selective silence, withdrawing affection, attention, or communication to punish and condition your behavior. You can use strategic withdrawal as a defensive tactic, not to punish, but to protect your energy and gain perspective. If conversations turn manipulative, you can end them calmly, stating you will return when you are ready, ensuring you are the one who dictates your engagement, not them. Silence, when used strategically, denies manipulators the immediate reactions they need to steer your behavior. You will find manipulators using triangulation, bringing third parties into conflicts to isolate and control their target while preserving their own image, was the lie. They will share selective stories about you to others, shaping perceptions to create pressure on you to comply. You can counter this not by playing the same game of gossip, but by using their tactic of narrative control consciously. You choose what to reveal, when to reveal it, and to whom, maintaining consistency so that when the manipulator's distorted stories surface, they collapse under the weight of your consistent actions and calm clarity. It is important to remember that using their tactics does not mean adopting their spirit. Manipulators use these tactics for domination, for ego, for draining others to inflate their own sense of power. You will use these tactics as shields and scalpels, never forgetting your principles, never using them to harm but to protect, to expose deception, and to preserve your path from unnecessary entanglement in their webs. The manipulator operates in shadows because they fear light. You can walk calmly in the open, knowing your actions are intentional, not reactive, strategic, not compulsive. One of the manipulator's strongest tactics is leveraging emotion while feigning logic, using guilt and fear while pretending they are offering rational concerns. The why. You can counter this by mirroring their calm delivery while refusing to engage in emotional debates designed to confuse. They will push you to react emotionally so they can position themselves as the calm, reasonable party. By holding your composure, using clear and concise language, and refusing to get pulled into emotional spirals, you use their tactic of controlled presentation while aligning it with truth, which they fear most. Manipulators often rely on the tactic of plausible deniability, operating in gray areas where they can always claim innocence while causing harm. Lie. You can use the same understanding of indirect action to protect yourself, communicating in ways that leave no gaps for misinterpretation, documenting interactions where necessary, and clarifying boundaries in writing if required. This protects you from their future attempt to twist your words or deny agreements made in moments of convenience for them. Using their tactics without becoming them means you understand the necessity of strategy in a world where manipulation exists. It means you do not shy away from using firmness, indirect disengagement, strategic silence, and calculated observation. While anchoring yourself in your principles, you will not use charm to exploit, but you will understand the power of presence and calm energy when confronted with manipulation. You will not use information to blackmail, but you will gather patterns and data to maintain your clarity and readiness. You will not mirror to deceive, was the lie, but you will observe to reveal truth hidden beneath the smiles and practiced empathy manipulators often wield. Manipulators expect you to either fight them emotionally, feeding their games, or to remain passive, submitting to their influence. They do not expect you to be strategic, calm, and observant while holding firm to your boundaries. Using tactics they understand without the corruption they embody. In this way, you become untouchable in their games, a player they cannot predict. But what if that was the lie? For you understand the dance without having to dance to their tune, and you can navigate the fog they create without ever losing sight of your direction. You now see that manipulation is not always loud. Often, it is quiet, patient, and hidden behind familiar smiles and comforting words. You have seen how manipulators operate by understanding your mind, controlling the flow of information, provoking your emotions, and using indirect tactics to shape your decisions without your awareness. But today, you are no longer blind to their methods. You have learned to observe calmly, to protect your energy, to master silence, and to reclaim your narrative with intention. You have seen how your detachment can frustrate their attempts, how your clarity can expose their strategies, and how your boundaries can halt their quiet invasions. You do not need to become like them to defeat them. You need to see them for what they are, to act with quiet firmness, and to remain grounded in your purpose while denying them the chaos they need to survive. In a world where manipulators adapt their methods with technology and social expectation, your awareness is your protection, your strategy is your weapon, and your calm is your power. You no longer need to fight them with emotion or flee from them in fear. You can stand watch and let them reveal themselves, for they cannot thrive in the presence of someone who sees, understands, and refuses to play by their hidden rules. Remember, you do not owe your energy to those who drain it, your mind to those who twist it, or your life to those who seek to control it. Walk with clarity, act with intention, and protect your inner kingdom from those who would seek to rule it with lies disguised as care and control disguised as love. If you found these strategies valuable, subscribe now to master your mind and protect your power. Comment below, "I will not be manipulated," if you are ready to reclaim your clarity starting today.